I'd like to welcome everyone to the Historic District Review Board, November 15th, 2022 meeting. We'll get started with a roll call.
Glasser here.
Drew present.
Howgill here.
Mayor present. We have a quorum. With that, I'd like to go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Any public comment? Okay. Approval of agenda format.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay. No unfinished business. We are on to 535 Monroe Avenue.
And this applicant, Ms. Dove, is on the phone as soon as I get done with the staff report. As you stated, this is for 535 Monroe Avenue. This is a new fence in the rear and side yard, and there will be gates. The applicant is seeking to install a 4-foot-tall vinyl dog ear picket fence with the New England classic post caps on the rear and side of the property with 3-foot gates on each side and 1 5-foot double gate on the rear and left side. And she has included the materials in the materials list, and zoning is approved. And Ms.
Thank you.
Dove is on the phone if you have any questions.
Okay, so it's the whole, it's all 4 foot.
Correct. So it's 535 Monroe, fencing the side and the rear.
I don't see any problem.
Okay.
I move that
Me
we,
neither, no issues.
No.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the application as is and approve the certificate.
Seconded.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Dove.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have
Sure.
a great evening.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Next up is 520 Randolph.
Okay, this is for Kathleen and Todd Glaser, 520 Randolph Avenue, and as you'll remember, this property has come to us a few times. Now, this is for a modification to an administrative approved modification to a certificate of appropriateness that was approved on August the 30th, 2022. And this is just for the dormers on the house. So it was approved it was first modified by the zoning administrator on August 30th because James Hardy no longer made the style of the dormer style that was first approved by the board here back in, let's see, December 14th, 2021. So then the applicant came back to us to get the hardy shingle siding with the staggered edge on the dormer peaks because they no longer, this will be the third change now because so it went from James Hardy siding to the half-round polymer siding. Now it's going back to, she would like to go back to the James Hardy shingle siding with the staggered edge. So that's why she's here for you today. So, and it's due to the fact that it's a color choice is not available, but the product is still available. And you'll see, and it is approved by zoning, but it just had to come back to the board for this modification. And Ms. Glaser is here.
Kathy, anything you want to add for the record?
Yeah, I do. I just want you all to notice that on my letter, I protest having to do this and pay a third fee for the approval. Basically, what happened was the first siding was not available, the second one was not available, so we went to the third choice, which was available.
Yeah. But I think
So-
that's probably administrative matter, not something.
No, because I changed the material.
Yeah.
I went from
I
hardy
mean,
board.
the fee part, though,
Yeah, every time.
yeah, that's, yeah.
I just assumed it was a tax write-off.
Anyway, I went from regular hardy board
Yeah,
to scalloped polymer, because we wanted to put the polymer and hardy board didn't have it, back to shingles because the polymer was not available in the color that we needed. So we're back to hardy board, but shingles instead of scallops.
yeah.
And it's just for the dormer.
Just the peaks, just the little inset there.
Okay.
I have no issue with it at all. You're stuck between materials, whether you like it or not, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of years ago, somebody overcame the problem by buying the material in advance, and we don't recommend that you do that either, because that created some problems of its own.
And even after, on the second one, when I went to OBS and we ordered it, we thought they had it, and then they came back and said no.
Okay, thank you.
So,
A motion?
I put a motion to approve as requested, so that's
Second.
submitted.
I'll
All in
second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great, motion carries.
Thank you.
Proceed. We'll see you next month. You're here anyway, so. 107 Mason?
Yes. Could I also request that the board,
That's good timing.
maybe in your motions, could you refer back to some of the historic district guidelines?
I
For
can't
when you're
hear you.
making motions, could you refer back to some of the historic district guidelines that are noted in your motions, if you don't mind?
As to
Thank
why
you.
we approve it.
Yes, thank you. This is the applicant for Miss Nancy Rooney. It's for 107 Mason Avenue. She would like to repaint the stucco on the front of the building and add 2 frame tiles and replace the awning with a new awning. As you see, the materials list that was given was there. And I was not at the time of the staff report. I did not have any information on the replacement awning. Everything is within the zoning ordinance right now, and Ms. Nunez did give you some background within this property under the zoning compliance. And Ms. Rooney is here to answer any questions. And she did just hand me over that it would be a Saltus-proof 502 awning that is waterproof material and protects against bad weather and UV. And it has a smooth satin finish. So, but Ms. Rooney is here to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
I'm Nancy Rooney. This is the awning
Okay.
proposed.
And I assume that graphic there is where your logo would go.
Yes. Yes, it's going to be a studio, an art studio.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I didn't see anything in our guidelines about painting stucco. I know we can't do brick.
So the painting part would only be where this stucco is, right here, 2 feet on each side of the, underneath the awning.
Oh, okay.
And in the proposed improvements, it says repaint with a similar color to a pale yellow. Well, until the awning goes up, I may make it a little darker yellow, not a bright yellow, but
We
you never
don't
know.
control color.
Okay, I just wanted to let you know, just in case it was
Nope.
And the tiles are 6 by 7 inches, and they would go underneath the 107 sign, underneath the light. So they're not very big, and they would be like that.
And they're just decorative. They're not a sign or anything.
So it would be on the facade, it would be the awning and the paint and the painting, the frames, and the tiles, those 3 things.
Okay.
And the lights won't change?
No, there's,
Yeah, I'm okay.
The only question I had marked here was just if you had any additional details on the signage. Any additional details on the signs that were going to be placed
the
there?
logo? The logo on the top of the,
This thing in
the middle,
I think
that's my
the-
design.
that's
It's
the
going to be
sign, I guess.
Okay.
it's going to be a
Okay.
business. It's going to be my studio. I've just gotten the business name last night, so I'm ready to start.
And I would assume the dimensions on that will meet the guidelines that the town has for signs? Is
It's a
that,
design.
Still has to.
It's not really a sign. It's a design in the middle, like what they have at, there are two other places in Cape Charles that have a logo. It's Moonrise Jewelry and the Banker. They have a similar size.
but those are considered signs. Yeah.
But
If
it's not us that approves that.
Yeah, that's
For us,
just-
it's the rest of it. It's a rabbit hole. Administratively, the town still has to approve your signage, whether it's a logo or not, but that's not this board that does that, so I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole. But you will have to address that with them. From me, it's sensible to expand out and cover the doors. I don't personally have an issue, Michael.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. I just wanted to make sure that, yes.
And I'm gonna weigh in just because the signs weren't part of this application. I don't know how it's gonna get affixed to the building, so it may still require your review depending on how it gets affixed. Because that's your domain, to ensure that piece and whether, how it gets into the masonry, the brick, et cetera. But the signage itself, yes, you have to fill out a sign
Okay.
application form for us. So we don't weigh in on the content of the sign, but we weigh in on the dimensions of the sign. And again, how it gets affixed to the structure, that's also dictated through zoning.
Just to be clear on that, what they're talking about is when you put it up, you've got to make sure that it's installed in a way that it can be removed without damaging the historic nature and the frontage of the building. So that's just make sure that when you do put that bit in at a later date, that's what the guideline says. So just pay attention that it doesn't do that, and then there won't be any issues. Okay.
Yes.
So I'll just say one thing, and Katie, if I'm incorrect on this, please correct me, but in the history of the businesses of this town, I think one of the major ones was an alcoholic beverage control, which was known by the type of glass that was used there. But when that glass disappeared, that took away one of the most characteristic features, and nothing was done about it. And so I assume at this point, it's beyond any ability to reflect that history in that particular structure. So I think only thing I would say is what you're proposing to do will further take it away from that. And I don't know the whys and wherefores or anything. I'm just going to say it will, in the minds of many that lived here, it will still be a memory, but from the history, I don't think there's anything we can do. Maybe a little plaque or something to indicate that, but, that's the only thing. It's really not looking at anything at all like that now, so.
The previous business didn't do anything
Pardon me?
like that. I said the previous business that was there didn't have
They weren't
anything.
there either, but the glass was, and then.
Right, so
But,
she's inherited.
yeah, that's
that.
right. I'm just sort of making a general comment, and, that there's the history, there's history in the town and on that street, but I don't know what to do with that. So, okay.
If I may, just so we're clear on the record, I know we disagree on this issue, Michael. We have not found any evidence that was removed by either Ms. Rudy, who only recently came into being a responsible party for the structure and the property as a whole, or her mother, who had been the owner since the mid-90s. They did not do any of that renovation work. That glass was not part of that structure for that long. We do recognize the ABC store had been located there. We're unclear exactly when any renovations were done on that property, but it clearly was not under this family.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
So it seems like to kind of sum this up, we're talking about painting the stucco, which I think is not an issue. That's page 52 of the guidelines, Tracy. Painting the stucco, replacing or adding the new awning, the sign will come after the fact through separate authorization. Is that fair?
making
And
sure it's
putting the
hung to
tiles
standard,
up.
yeah.
which is
Added
just a
tiles,
decorative.
yep.
I have no
Further-
problem.
Okay.
I'm willing to make a motion that we approve the plan as is, pending you applying for the sign approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you, thank you.
Motion carries.
Hi, so the next application is for 632 Madison Avenue. Laura Wangan and Michelle Molina would like to install a 12 by 16, which equals 109 square foot accessory structure on the rear of their property. On the rear southeast corner of their property. And they have now provided tonight they brought in what the zoning administrator needed. So, no, that is not that, but for what you need, they have provided everything within the application. And the applicants are here for any questions you may have, so I'll ask them to step up now.
So is this picture, this shows the proposed location?
Yes,
On this one?
yes. The only thing I forgot on, when we submitted that originally was the setback from the house. So the setback from the house side of the shed is 45 feet from the back of the house.
It's fine. Okay.
So, and it's not, just to make a correction, the actual size of the shed is a 14 by 24. She said 12 by something. 16, yeah. So I just want to, and it is, yeah, 14 by 24.
Are you going to have a foundation?
Yes, they're doing their pilings.
Okay. I have no question?
I have no questions on it. It meets all the guidelines for the accessory bits, and it's really well set back. It's hugely back in the yard. I have no questions or issues.
Yeah, I'm good.
Same, no issues
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
I'll put forward a motion to approve as submitted.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion
Thank you.
carries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is for 506 Nectarine Street, the applicant of Mr. Thomas Austin. He would also like to install an 8 by 10 accessory structure in the rear northeast corner of his property. And as you will see, he also has included all the materials, and he has also provided the zoning administrator, which he has asked for. And he is also here to answer any questions. Sorry, I didn't see him come in earlier.
Yeah, the narrow one.
And this is your picture here.
Yeah, yeah. So it comes
But
like
it's
a
going to be
kit.
white?
Yeah, it comes primed,
that's
so I have
what
to paint it
Tracy
myself. I'll
just
paint it
told us
white.
that he has now.
I think with the accessory sheds, as long as they meet all the setback requirements, there's really not much for us to talk about.
Yeah, there's no guidance. It's in the rear of the property.
And I assume he does meet all the setback requirements. So therefore, I propose that we approve the
Seconded.
application.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was
Thanks so
easy.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, we have a bunch of these.
That's,
Okay.
that's still on move to be
Next.
at one day of administrative
Next.
approval,
It's gonna pick up a little bit.
this kind of a,
Yeah.
Hopefully, yep.
all right.
2 more months.
Yes.
Okay.
This application is for 615 Tazewell Avenue, with our applicant being Mr. David Hagel, who is here also. He would like to replace windows and doors on his two-story home. And as you see, he has provided an explanation and pictures. He did not give close-up of certain doors and windows as, for security reasons, so. And he has provided details on the new windows and doors that he would like to replace them with. And he is here with any questions you may have, and this meets zoning requirements, so.
Hello again from the other side. I'm taking Kathy's usual spot this evening.
Yes.
So the intention is, as you'll see from photos, all of the top windows in the dormer area, which are the only historic windows left in it, those are staying exactly as is. Those are already preserved on the inside. We've already sealed those up, etc. Nobody's going to be touching those. 90% of the others, so we've actually put it in for all of them, so that Anderson can make that decision as they go through them. But all the ones on the right-hand side of the house don't actually open. The aluminum ones are 1950s, 1960s. The hardware is broken. They don't open. They don't close. They're held shut with nails. When they measured them a couple of days ago, I had to re-nail most of them. And it's just time for them to go because it's a maintenance nightmare, as you guys are aware. So it's to fix that so that the house is better off in the future. The two doors, the front door, and to Chase's point, I did not do close-ups. My work doesn't really make it conducive for me to be showing people how to get into my house, but there's daylight in a couple of spots, and to me, the doors are actually an urgency to get those secured further. I do have one comment in addition to what's put in, and that's on the doors. It was our intention, this only came to light yesterday, so going down to the two pictures of the doors, it was our intent to replace exactly with the same design as the current ones. Unfortunately, I've had a Kathy problem. They don't make that one anymore, as of 2 months ago. So the difference is at the back, the 3 panels at the bottom comes a single panel, but nobody can see that, it's the back of the house. And the front, the bottom panels there, basically it becomes 2 long panels at the bottom, which is in keeping with most of the other doors on it. But it's not exactly the same as the current one, so I'm just pointing that out for you. Okay?
We ended up duplicating it by taking a bunch of different parts and creating it ourselves.
Yeah. The one it's replacing at the front is not what I would describe as.
Now, your remaining windows are aluminum?
They are a mixture of aluminum and vinyl. Of the vinyl ones, there's about 4 of them that are definitely being replaced. Probably
And
some of
the
the
new
others.
ones will be,
The new ones are actually all, it's a composite.
Composite, yeah.
Okay.
Because the reason that some of the vinyl ones are going, and you guys know this, it's a common bugbear for all of us, is that they've stretched and warped already. They're about 10 years
I'm
old, and
putting
they're
those
just
in mine.
useless quality.
Okay. I have a question on the shutter, though.
Yep.
By the historic guidelines, your shutters do not meet, the existing shutters do not meet the historic guidelines. They have to be closable. Now, they're already there.
Yep.
But if you're putting new ones up,
The new ones are only going at the back of the house, because
Okay.
that's the only windows that don't have
Then
them.
I guess it doesn't
We just
have
wanted
to-
to put it on there as an administrative, because until January, we wanted to make sure we pointed out what we were doing on all sides. But yeah, none of the ones on the front are being changed, removed, or anything else.
okay.
And these will be all new windows for uniformity of appearance, is that right? Yeah.
Not just appearance, but at the moment, none of the bedroom
None of
windows can
them
be
are
opened at all.
Well, that makes it easy.
Same at the back of the house. The kitchen is, you can't actually open it and things, so the fan's constantly running. So it's to, realistically, it's to get functional windows. The uniformity is a bonus, not the driving goal.
And it looks like everything you're replacing is already a replacement window.
Correct, yeah.
Now, do the sills on the window have the proper depth?
So interestingly, because
Herb's not
thank
here,
you for
so
taking
I had
thank you for taking Herb's spot. Especially with the vinyl windows, yes, they'll be identical to the ones that are existing there. The aluminum ones are so bad they're actually sitting on top of the sill, and therefore the new ones will just go straight on top of them. Because as far as I can see, they were put in with putty and glue versus actually any level of framing.
I have no other questions.
I appreciated the graphics in here. I think that made it easier. I don't have anything
No
else
further
beyond.
questions, no.
I'll make a motion that we approve the request as submitted.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great, motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Proceed.
Okay. The next application is for 424 Randolph Avenue, and the applicant is Mark Guevara. And he is looking to renovate the exterior of the home. As you know, a couple months ago, this property came forward because it was in violation because it was so bad. So as you will see, I tried to list everything he would like to do, and he put together a great application and step-by-step and listed all the materials he would like to do. For most of it, he's going to try to restore, and he's actually going to restore the front porch back on the home. Everything is in with zoning. Now, as you see, if you go by it today, the roof that was an emergency call, that was administratively approved, but he has not used the material because he would like to go from, I do believe, shingle to metal, or material to use from shingle to metal. But we did approve for him to get started on that. And he is here today if you have questions, but his application included everything that he would like to do. And he has photos and everything.
The roof.
From, metal to shingle, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I
it
was
had
like,
the
did
old
I
metal.
write that wrong? Yeah, from shingle to metal. From metal to shingle. But we approved for him to get started, so if you went by there today and saw that he had started, he did get approval because it was so bad.
And you replace, I'll wait till.
So, but and what I did is I did take the existing photo that we had, so.
I have a procedural question. If someone, like this house previously was presented and we did approve, if someone else then bought the house, could they use that same certificate or do they have to reapply?
It depends on whether or not, if any of the approvals are still standing. No, and they were not.
Okay.
So, in the application, I'd like to restore the house as original as possible. There are 3 parts of the renovation that will be, I think, not fully compliant with the historic district guidelines. And one is we're looking to remove the chimney, the back chimney. There's 2 chimneys on the property. The forward chimney you can see from the street. The forward chimney has full integrity, and the rear chimney it can't be seen from the street, and there's significant structural issues with the bottom of the chimney.
Now, do we still require a structural engineer for that? Katie? Do we still require a structural engineer to remove a chimney?
He did provide,
Pictures?
he did.
Okay.
And I will have a structural engineer for the interior modifications.
But he was focused on, he was trying to go ahead and get the exterior.
Yeah, I'm just saying, in the guidelines, it says that you have to have one.
So if you want to need that, then I'm sure he'll be willing to.
I mean, it's obvious from looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but,
And then the other question I had, you're repairing the siding with pine.
Well, it'll be cedar planking as far as the siding. If we have to do windows, it'll be southern pine. But it'll be 6-inch cedar planking with a 5-inch reveal. And that's only for the siding that is split or compromised. So I don't plan to take a wholesale bunch of the siding off. We'll do it bit by bit. And the plaster and lattice boards are actually removed from the interior of the house. So it's actually very easy to go and get the specific nails for the specific siding boards that I need to get. So I'll be able to do that without harming the other siding. And then the second non-compliant, I guess, to point out is, as Tracy mentioned, the roof. It's originally a 10 metal roof. I did get quotes for lifetime roofing for a metal roof, but it wouldn't even be the same 10 metal roof. And then in the end, that 50-year architectural shingle is what we decided to put in for application. I brought a sample for it, and in the package also is a picture of the house on Tazewell that we did the 50-year architectural, so you can kind of see how it looks on the house. That's the one we'd like to do. And then, so chimney, roof, geez.
Driveway?
Yeah, so there's a driveway proposed, and that driveway, like, my neighbor has a fence on the side of the house, so we're gonna match that fence and just provide a driveway. If the board
It's gonna be solid
approves,
concrete?
it's gonna be concrete, yes, ma'am. And if the board approves it, I'll get VDOT approval for the cut-in.
I remember vaguely something about not using solid surfaces because of rain. And
Yeah, Tracy's put the guideline in there in the staff side. Basically it says if modern concrete is to be used, consider scored or exposed aggregate designs, not just
Okay.
natural concrete.
Absolutely.
So that's what the guideline currently says, and avoid street front walls, etc. But that's not an issue in this particular one. So the guidance is specifically for concrete. Either an exposed aggregate, which is visually probably more in keeping with what the other driveways
Yes,
in
sir.
the area have. But it does give you the option for scored concrete
Okay.
as well.
I think we would probably go with the aggregate then, just to be
yeah, it's just
consistent.
not a solid flat
Yep.
surface.
That'll meet the guideline, and I suspect it'll
Yeah.
look it up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm very interested in meeting guidelines.
Thank you.
Sir.
Very good.
So the only thing I am concerned about is the roof, but
So a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So if I remember correctly, when this house came before us can you just tell us what the state of or lack of state of the current roof is? Is it salvageable or not?
So, a good question. So when we first took the property, you could stand from the street and you could see that not only the trim around the house, but the tin metal roof had peeled back and there was missing tin metal. You could see water damage on the interior of the house. But the sheathing, instead of it being 3/4 inch solid 4 foot by 8 foot sheets, it was strips of wood. The strips of wood looked in good shape, so I took a roofing contractor, Jeb Johnson, and we walked through it, and we determined that if we took the tin metal roof off, we could keep the strips of wood. In fact, it was providing integrity to the rafters. And then we just did 3/4 inch 4 by 8 sheets of sheathing over the existing strips. And so our intention was to wait until Historic District Review Board approval for the roof. But one thing I like to do when I do the renovation projects is I do like to get a builder's risk insurance policy on it, because I don't want a fire taking it down and it not being insured. And this was the first renovation where, specifically from the photos, they had concerns about the tin metal and the strips. So I talked with Katie, and she and Jeb discussed it, and since to do the roof renovation anyways, we'd have to take off the loose pieces. It's just a matter of what we were going to put back, and that could wait for board approval. That's what we did. We applied for permission. And so the tin metal roof has been taken off. All of the sheathing strips of wood original are still there. Got 3/4 inch sheathing on top of that. It's wrapped with poly, and it's just waiting for the new roof as approved by the board.
Thank you. Good
Yes, sir.
explanation. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just thought, a fine job was done of saving this from the demolition. I can think of one other case that was also the case, that was, I think, in many other towns, they just say forget it, but sticking in there was good. And I know that any way you could have saved the chimney, you would have, but you made a very finely documented case for having to remove that back chimney, and so
Thank you.
can't find fault with that.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have an idea on the number of windows specifically, or is this,
Oh,
looking at the graphics, some of these are?
Yeah, so of the windows, the majority of them are 2x2s, and there would be 9 sashes that would be required, but I do have 4 of the originals. They were just taken down. What happened is the seal and the casing rotted, so they just placed them on the interior of the house. And then my contractor acquired 5 more from R&T Nautical. So I have all of the 2x2s ready to be installed once I get approval. Go from there.
Nice.
and you have the original pillars for the porch?
Have the original pillars, yep.
That's
4
good.
full pillars and 2 half pillars.
I remember when it was up.
Yes, yes,
I
ma'am.
remember when the house next to it looked like that.
Yes, ma'am, and it looks great.
I have no other questions.
Me neither. I would point out, similar vein to what Michael just pointed out. It's actually really nice to see how much of the original that you actually, and the effort you're taking to put back into it, the pillars, the windows,
Thank you.
the look, the feel, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
It's, yeah, from the town standpoint, much appreciated.
Yes, sir. It's got good bones. It deserves to be safe.
And its location on Randolph is one of the first things visitors see as they come into the town towards the beach.
Yes, sir.
I walk by there every day.
Yeah, I have no
And
issue.
you're, oh, okay.
I have no issue as long as the driveway is as they said, that's
Now we
that's fine.
just got to get the guy on the other side.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve the project per the application. Do we have to say anything about the chimney? The chimney's okay?
That was part of the application, you just say something about the driveway material.
Okay, then we approve, I make a motion, we approve the application as is with the change in the driveway to the aggregate.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, looking forward to it. We'll see who's done first, you or me.
Let's see who's back next.
You're never going to be done, Kathy, because you've got to find another project immediately after.
Well,
And we
there's the
look
one
forward to
across
that
the
one too.
street.
Okay, this next application is for 538 Monroe Avenue, and the applicant is being represented by Claudine Pierce. And this is to build a brand-new accessory structure, which will be a garage. And it is also to put up a 8-foot vinyl fence along the alley. And as you will see, a materials list has been provided on the garage and the proposed porch that will be on the garage and on the fence. And it is within zoning. And the applicant, I do believe, snuck in, yes, while I was not looking, so she is here to answer any questions.
Great,
She's not,
thank you.
yep, there she is.
Hi, good evening. So this is for a 1.5-story accessory garage with storage on the half-story above. The house, we're using materials to match the existing main structure, including trying to match the cornice work, fascia work, also the porch columns. We're matching the existing porch columns in the front of the house, although they're composite. And then they're going to be adding a fence along the rear alley line, which will be vinyl. Any questions?
Are there any plans for utilizing this as an accessory
No, there are not.
living space?
There are not.
Basically garage with an upstairs.
I think my notes are out of order because I can't see which goes with which. And this is the exact kind of fence you're putting up?
Yes. So it'll have 1/1 windows, which will match the existing house also. We're using the historic exact sill. We're matching the details of the window headers and side pieces. So we're really trying to match as much as possible the existing house without completely, we want to make it feel like a carriage house.
That's hardy siding.
It is hardy siding, AZEK trim, mostly composites. They will have asphalt shingles on the main roof, but they'll do standing seam metal on the porch roof,
Okay.
which again is trying to mimic the existing house, or at least talk to it.
Any thoughts? Any?
No, I mean, it's
It's okay to me.
yeah, it looks fine. I mean, you know, from the guideline standpoint, it doesn't, exactly to your point, it doesn't mimic
Speaks to it.
the building next to it. It honors it versus trying to copy it,
Right.
which means, you know, guideline-wise, it meets that, and it looks like a great design.
Thank you.
Got the distance in it to the
Got
main-
the distance in it, yeah.
Okay, so that's great.
We do.
Okay.
I propose a motion to accept it as submitted. Kathy?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You're up.